Whether you're just learning to draw or you're obsessed with flowers and leaves like me, today's video is a good one because we're doodling mini florals. Hi guys, what's up? My name is Shada and today I have a really fun little doodles tutorial for you. We're going to work through a bunch of mini flowers together. But before we get started, I want to mention that this will be part of a 3-video series all about floral illustration. We're going to take you from absolute beginner, drawing some really simple and achievable stuff today, and then we'll work our way into more complex floral arrangements, but always keeping it simple and fresh and minimal, which I really like. And if you are struggling or just getting started with drawing, the flowers that we'll doodle together today will be available as a worksheet on my Patreon site. So all the channel bonus content is available on Patreon. We give out stuff every week and you can go over there and get it after the video. And some fun news to do with our Patreon, and that is I've just introduced a $10 tier, and for 10 bucks a month, you can get access to a monthly live stream art workshop where you can actually ask me questions live and we can kind of interact a little bit and do a more live lesson. So check that out after the video. For now, let's get started on part 1 of our Floral Doodles series. All right, today's florals are all quite two-dimensional, so you can follow along with me and let's get started. I'm beginning with a simple stem for this first one, and then we're just doing these little oval or tear-shaped blossoms. You can join them all with a bunch of branches and maybe add some tiny leaves. I'll go over this in pen so you can really see we've got these oval-shaped little blooms or berries, some tiny branches and stems to join everything, and you can add a little bit of extra color at the base of each bloom to kind of make it look like a bud or a berry. For our next one, we're going to draw those flowers that you would draw as a kid. 4 petals, a little bit messy. If it helps, you can do a little X first and use that X as a guide. Some of the petals can be smaller, some can be larger, and then we're going to join them with some curving stems. You could do 3 or 4 flowers, add the stems, and then a few little leaves. Let's go over it in pen, just these 4 petals. Again, some can be a bit smaller or they can all be the same. They can be a bit messy or wonky. Just darken the center, add some stems, some curving stems, and then a few little leaves. And the leaves could be rounded or pointed ovals. Maybe put a line down the center. And really, that's all there is to it. I'll get rid of all my pencils so you can see it. That is a simple little floral. The next one, we're going to start with a curving stem. You can do 2 stems, and then I like to do these little semicircles. And if it helps you to draw the full circle to do a half circle, go for it. Then we'll put some tiny little leaves, maybe an extra branch, and then we're going to divide each semicircle into 3 or 4 sections. And we'll go over this in pen. Start with that curving stem, add those tiny little leaves, maybe an extra branch with a few extra leaves. We'll do these semicircles, we're dividing them into 3 or 4 little areas. See how I'm doing that? And also I darken the bottom there as well. And it gives the look of these tiny little flower buds kind of opening up. It's still very two-dimensional and simple. I like to darken the leaves to create some contrast, get rid of all your pencil marks, maybe add a touch of line shading, and that's that. Okay, next one. I begin with a stem on a bit of an angle and it splits off like a Y. Then I'll put 2 or 3 larger leaves. And then like the first one, the flowers or the buds are just these ovals. There's nothing more to it. So we've got our splitting off stem, these larger leaves. They could be any shape, pointed or rounded. I like to add line shading to make them dark. And then we're doing these teardrop or oval shaped blossoms. This could be berries, it could be a simple flower. They kind of fan out at the top and they're nice and bright and white while the leaves are dark. Our next flower is quite vertical. Think of drawing lavender. We'll start with 2 stems, they can intersect, and then we're going to go over everything in pen. I'm not going to bother with doing this in pencil because it's quite simple. I'm doing these little kind of heart shapes or little butterfly shapes all along the length of the stem. And they're just these silly little ovals or little hearts. And when you do a whole bunch of them down the length of the stem, it gives the impression of a plant like lavender. Next, we're going to do a larger flower. So this one, I draw a circle, and then you kind of just make that circle lumpy, give it a lumpy border. Draw a stem and add some funny little leaves. These leaves could be round, or you could kind of make them pointed like I'm doing. And you can add a second flower. Again, just draw a circle and give it a lumpy edge. You can see I've got a circle drawn in pencil, and then I'm going to round it in pen and giving it a few bumps. I'll do some little dots or circles in the center, and then just a few broken curving lines kind of gives the impression of all these layers of petals. This is like a very doodly rose. We've oversimplified and it looks so cute, and it's a lot of fun to draw. I'm going over all the leaves, giving them a line down the center, and then if you want to, you can add some line shading. Let's get rid of our pencil, and again, this one you've got a nice contrast between the light colored flower and the darker leaves. For the next one, let's keep it simple. We start with a stem, maybe 2 stems, and we're going to add a pointed oval leaves. And then between those pointed oval leaves, we'll put a little berry, a berry with maybe a little bit of a branch as well. And then you go along and you add more berries and more leaves, maybe even more stems. This one is great for filling space because you can add more and more. And it's also great to put alongside other floral doodles because it's so simple. This one is fun to draw, and it almost looks like Queen Anne's lace. I'm starting by doing little stems in pencil, and then for the blossom, you're going to do a U shape, another U, and then maybe a couple more lines. Let's go over it in pen. So start with the stems, then do a U, another U, and then 2 more little lines there. So you're really just creating this fanning out of lines, and then at the top of each line, you can put a couple scribbles or a few X's, almost like you're trying to draw sparks or stars. It's a sweet little doodle that is very much like a silhouette of a flower, and you can add any sort of leaf shape to that, and I think it'll look quite cute. Okay, we've already done 8 different floral doodles. I love these mini florals because you can just let your pen wander. Sometimes you just want to draw stems and leaves and you don't want to think about it too much. You just want to fill in space and go and draw and doodle and let your pen wander the page. I like to draw a whole bunch of leaves and then maybe just add one funny looking blossom at the top, and the blossom could just be a lumpy circle. This almost looks like clover or something. Add a few lines, a bit of shading, but you don't even have to do that. And then other times you want to actually take inspiration from nature. It's not as much about letting the pen wander. It's about saying, okay, I want to attempt to draw little daisies or little chamomile flowers. And so you're thinking about a flower that has these thin petals and lots of blossoms, and you're thinking about an actual plant. For this daisy one, I like to do it in pencil first to make sure I like the placement of all the flowers and the placement of the petals. Those tiny petals sometimes trip me up a bit, so I definitely like to do everything in pencil first and make sure I'm happy with it. You can join all these little flowers with stems and branches and then add some simple little leaves. And again, these leaves are a little darker. Get rid of all that pencil, and I've got a nice contrast from the light flower to the darker leaf. Our next flower begins with a circle, and then you're going to block this circle off with 4 little curving lines and then do a little spiral right in the center. After that, add 4 lumpy petals, and you've kind of got this cartoony little rose. It's really fun and fanciful, and all you need to do is add a couple leaves to surround it. So again, start with a circle, block it off with a border of 4 curving lines, and then that little spiral in the center. After that, you add these 4 lumpy petals, and then you could even go around again and add a few more petals. They don't have to be symmetrical, and they certainly don't have to be perfect. I usually finish it with a stem and then a couple leaves going off in every direction. And this one also benefits from a little bit of line shading. It can darken those leaves and help create that contrast between leaf and flower. And maybe a few little bits of line shading on the rose itself. For the final one, I'm keeping things very simple and doing a sort of Scandinavian folk art flower doodle. It kind of looks like a tulip on top, and then we have this stem that has these perfectly even pairs of oval-shaped leaves. And in that way, it's not very realistic, but it is quite cute, and that's all a doodle really needs to be, am I right? And there we go, 12 mini floral doodles that you can draw today. I just love these tiny flowers because they always look sweet, and they're just the perfect little adornment for a bullet journal, a birthday card, or a calendar page. If you enjoyed this video, you might be interested to know that Tuesday will be part 2 of our floral illustration series, and we're doodling some more flowers. And after that, on Friday of next week, we'll get into a larger floral arrangement that builds on all the skills we worked through today. Remember, you can head over to Patreon and get the worksheet to help you draw these flowers. All the bonus content is available there for a couple bucks a month. $10 a month gets you bonus content, plus that monthly live stream workshop. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you soon with a new tutorial.